Hello and welcome to episode 49 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always, I'm joined by Wib. Say hello.
Hello.
And I'm also joined by Drummerbot. Say hello.
Hello.
How are you, lovely gentlemen, today?
I am doing okay. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm well. It's starting to be less cold here. I mean, I think the UK is still cold, but it's warming up slightly here, which is nice.
Yeah, it's been a bit chilly.
I think it's pronounced Nice.
Oh, fuck off.
Because he's in France. Get it?
How are you doing, Snipe?
That was great, but you don't deserve to be asked how you're doing now.
Okay.
Oh.
I rescind my question then.
Oh. Shit. If you want to know how I am, guys, you just need to,
Email only
drummermat at snipeandwhip@gmail.com.
This is a good start.
A
good start.
Oh,
When is it not a good start?
This is a fair point.
And by good start, we obviously mean terrible start.
Oh, yes, no. We like sarcasm here. It's fun. We like to have fun with words. So, to start off with, I thought we'd talk about some general news, like, I don't know, to do with something called Adepticon.
Yes.
For the 40k and just general, I guess, wargaming crowd.
Yeah, it's a big wargaming convention in Illinois.
It's big enough to the point that I actually know some news coming out of it, so...
I know, that says it all.
Yeah.
That says it all, doesn't it?
Who dang.
So yeah, there's been a bunch of announcements by G-Dubs.
By James Workshop.
By James Workshop.
Yeah.
The biggest one, of course, which we'll just go right out the gate with, is that Plastic Sisters have been announced.
Well, they put out a video that was
Emperor
basically lifting a kilt and jiggling their dingles at us.
A little bit.
Because... Yeah. Now, I remember this community questionnaire because I actually took part in it.
Yeah, I think I did it as well.
Yeah, Warhammer, like GW put out a thing. It's like a community questionnaire. It's like, what would you like to see in the future? And I think my comment was along the lines of, "Give us Plastic Sisters, you fucking cowards." You know, straight to the point. That's what I want. And they basically, it's just a video where they posted a bunch of text going, "I think it's about time for Plastic Sisters," or "Plastic Sisters, please," and just loads of things like that. And it ends in a phrase of, oh, what is it? Like, the faithful will be rewarded, or something.
Like that,
something like that, like in 2019. It's like, you fucking tease.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me. You better be fucking giving us Plastic Sisters.
I will be intrigued to know if they do any redesigning of the Sisters, or if it's just going to be the same design that we used to.
They'll redesign them, surely, won't they?
Oh, I would hope so, because they're incredibly... I was talking to Longfang about it, I was like, they're incredibly Jean Blanche. Very kind of, like, Madonna tit plate. And it's like, you know, Celestine and her retinue are, where they do have the booby plate, but it's nowhere near as egregious.
I think that's probably what
Just
we're going to
better
get,
sculpts.
is just a much better sculpt of the old designs, because whilst I personally am not a fan of the boob plate...
I think it's a bit silly.
It is part of their recognisable aesthetic, and I can understand that they would be reticent to get rid of that.
I just don't want them to look like... You remember that picture of Tank Girl where she's literally wearing a bra that is just two hollowed out missiles? I don't want them to look like that, basically.
They are a lot better on that front these days.
Yeah, they are. So I'm hopeful.
And it will be nice to finally have Plastic Sisters, because honestly, the fact that the sculpts for Sisters are so old... and they don't look fantastic, and they're all metal, and I hate working with metal. I
have a couple of metal models. One is my Canis Wolfborn, and he is... Oh god, the reason I haven't finished painting him is because I'm too fucking scared to touch him, because every time I try and I do, like, touch-ups, I wear more paint off the bastard.
Yeah, sometimes they recommend having to periodically, like, do a coat of varnish on them.
I'm
going to
have to, because, god, that's so fucking irritating.
But the fact that they were metal and the sculpts are so old was really the only thing that ever stopped me wanting to collect Sisters of Battle, because I've always thought they were really cool.
That's the thing, like, the concept of them is fucking awesome, but, like, it's like, you know, when, like, in Falling Down, where the guy has a massive freak out in the burger restaurant because he's, like, seeing a delicious juicy burger, and then he gets, like, a pile of fucking shit. It's kind of like that with Sisters. It's like, there's really cool stuff, like, oh my god, they're so rad, and then you actually get them and they're metal, horrible models from like a billion years ago.
Quite expensive to collect as well because of that. Like at present, anyway. So yeah, that's cool. But they did also announce other things, although the Sisters have kind of overshadowed a lot of them.
Well, yeah, because what was it? It was like, been like 20 fucking years.
Yeah, I think the sculpts for the Sisters, did they come out like early 90s, like 94, 95, around that time?
So yeah, a good 20 years at least.
Yeah.
So I think people have done their fucking waiting.
Yeah, absolutely. But other things that were announced is that Imperial Knights are being kind of expanded to be a full kind of faction. Which is kind of rad, because I mean, even though you could run them like that, they just had one kit really that you just modified you just like assembled differently to be the different knights, whereas they're actually kind of expanding it to have different kits with different kind of things. So that's kind of interesting.
That's cool.
Because I like Imperial Knights are another faction that I would love to have, because I think just the models are fantastic, but they're just so expensive.
A 40k model being expensive. Yeah, you're having a laugh, ain't ya?
Yeah, but isn't it like £90 for a single knight?
What? I
Really?
think it is. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
But they're really pretty.
So cool.
Just get your Tau robots instead of your Imperial robots.
Okay, first of all, fuck you.
But they're cooler. And
No,
cheaper,
they're not.
probably.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I think the
I don't
equivalent
know.
were ones that are of the equivalent size are about the same price.
Okay. It's been a while.
Yes.
I can tell.
When I used to buy them, they were cheaper than £90.
When I was a young man,
When I last went into a Games Workshop in 1992, I could buy a model for £1.06.
I bought a Codex for £2.09.
Okay, now you're just ripping into your own new series.
Shut up.
Welcome to Codex Compliance. This is where you can buy a model for 50p.
But yeah.
Yeah, God, you read some of the really old books and you see things like that. Oh, this model costs 50p, and you're like,
Oh,
fuck
you see
off.
the price list. It's like, oh yeah, it's like this one's a bit pricey. It's a very special sculpt. It's £2, and you're like, oh what a. Oh, if only we'd known.
I would have bought so many models and squirreled them away back in the late 90s. I don't know.
Hindsight is 2020.
But yeah, they did like a live action trailer for the extra, like, because they've released a bit, well, they're going to be releasing a bigger, like, more heavily armed knight.
I haven't seen this. All I heard was live action trailer. Dude with a beard.
Yeah, it's a big, it's a dude with a beard in cosplay. It's kind of
Cool.
fun.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rad, honestly.
Other things, Death Watch are getting an update and a codex as well, as are the Imperial Knights, obviously, and Harlequins are getting a new codex as well. But the interesting thing about the Death Watch one is that they're getting Primaris Marines now, and they'll be able to run squads that are mixed, so regular Marines and Primaris Marines, which is kind of
pretty rad.
interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which will presumably mean we'll start actually getting some like parts to modify Primaris a bit, because that's the only problem with Primaris right now.
They're pretty new and basic.
Yeah, because they're so new, you don't have the decades of spare parts and customizable bits that a regular Marine has. I mean, hell, you can. I've seen people modify modern Marines with Rogue Trader era Marines, and it still kind of work.
Yeah.
So you know,
That and you got to dig the old and new.
yeah, it's always fun. But yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see what comes out with that. There's also an app coming out, like an official app called Combat Roster, that allows you to build army lists of 40k.
Yeah, it only took them fucking forever to fill that fucking gap.
Yeah, from
it's
what
not like we were wanting one for years.
When you say that, when you say there's finally an app coming out, you mean there's finally an official one coming out?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's ways of doing it.
From what I can gather, the guy who makes it, he did do a third-party one first, and they basically went, "Can you just make it official, please?"
Okay, that's a really good sign.
Yeah.
That's a good sign, because like a lot of companies will just go, "Oh, we'll just hit you with a fucking cease and desist, and then do it the same as you but worse."
Yeah.
That's usually what they do. So like, massive props to them actually taking on someone who knew what they were fucking doing and were doing a good job already.
They've been doing quite well recently with that kind of stuff. It's like lots of incidental little bits of artwork they get done for things is done by the guy that does. Actually, I don't know if it's a guy. I don't know. But whoever does Eagle Ordinary has been doing a webcomic has been doing a lot of their little incidental art for things,
pretty rad.
which is really cool.
No, I like it how they're kind of like reaching out a little bit more.
Yeah, it's nice. Or the other big thing, 'cause there's a few other Age of Sigmar things that aren't really worth talking about because we don't know what we're talking about.
I think I've played enough Vermintide 2 to know everything about Age of Sigmar. How hecking dare you?
You mean that thing that occurs before Age of Sigmar?
Yes. Shut up.
But
It occurs during the end times, and remember, there was probably the end times.
I don't know fucking anything about the end times.
Well, I know that there were lots of vermin.
I know that
there was a tide of them, one might say.
Yeah, there was something to do with like magic and stuff happening, and then
basically
everything went wrong.
Everything got put in the fuck it bucket.
Yeah.
And then Chaos won. Spoilers.
Pretty much, yeah. I think that's actually a startlingly accurate summary.
Welcome to the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe,
you are basically a walking
encyclopedia of Age of Sigmar and all things Warhammer Fantasy. Ask me a question, I can answer it.
Okay, what's the new faction?
The new faction is the Idoneth Deepkin.
Yes.
They employ octopuses with knives!
They do.
Yeah, I did know that because I'm amazing at Warhammer Fantasy knowledge. I know literally everything.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with that notepad file that's open in front of us right now.
What notepad file? I see beyond it. I see into the Games Workshop like fucking 2 miles down the road. I'm just eyeing around there.
But yes, the Idoneth Deepkin. I don't know. I don't know if they said how you're supposed to pronounce it, but yeah,
it's Idoneth. Yeah, Idoneth the Deepkin, didn't I?
But they're basically sea-themed elves.
They're pretty rad.
Cool.
And they have some models that
They've
are
weaponized
rad.
sea life.
Yes.
I love it. There's literally a guy who's just like, I don't know, filling in his army list, and there's just a fucking octopus over his shoulder being like, oh, you see, that actually costs 20 points because you've taken a special item with him. And he's like, thanks, Greg the octopus, who's always living behind me.
Why isn't everything always named Greg?
I don't know, it just suits it. It's good. And the octopopus has a knife.
Yeah, he's got like a fucking scimitar or something.
Knife.
Okay,
you can see it in the video. It's just like
I'm image searching this. This sounds badass.
But yeah, there's also elves riding floating eels.
Yeah, but like the eels have like the cutest faces. Like one of them is just so happy to be there. He looks like a happy puppy.
And there's also a bunch of them riding a giant sea turtle. It looks like fucking a Tuin. It's fantastic.
It's bitey and awesome.
Some of the elves also have no eyes, which is a thing.
What do you call an Idoneth with no eyes? A dummeth. I'm so upset this is radio because the look you just gave me screamed of 1,000 divorces.
I saw the Dunneth Deepkin as well.
Yeah.
Deepkin.
Fuck off. Also, I did see someone on Twitter say that this faction is now fantastic because for all those people that hate painting eyes.
They have like a unit that don't have eyes.
Yeah.
The rest of them kind of do, so.
Yeah, but you can probably green stuff over that and just pretend they all don't have eyes.
Green stuff over their eyes.
Yeah.
War turtles.
Yes, they have war turtles.
Nice.
Also, and this is a small point.
Okay, I'm back to listening to you now.
Okay.
Have you seen the octopus with the
I
knife,
couldn't
though?
find the octopus and I didn't want to spend too long looking for it. I'll look later.
I think you have to see it though, dude.
You'll love him.
Yeah, I will. I'll look later.
But yeah, the interesting thing is that video, the background music on it is some of the music from the video game Space Marine.
You think we didn't notice,
We did. You think we didn't notice Games Workshop, James Workshop if you're nasty? We noticed.
We noticed.
Also, it does kind of let you know who owns the rights to the music.
I was going to say, does that mean that they own the rights to the games that are about their things?
Well, I think they own the rights to the soundtrack at least. That was fantastic.
It's fine.
That was. You've been in France too long. Your syntax is fucked.
I think the point is that it's possible they own the rights to the music because Sega have the rights to the game.
But I mean, that would make sense because in Warhammer World, when you go in, they're playing all sorts of like fancy fantasy music and like the Dawn of War soundtrack and shit like that or whatever.
They used. I mean, I don't know because I've not been for quite a while, but they used to play the Lord of the Rings soundtrack quite often. Yeah. But to be fair, they could just be using a regular playing music in public license.
There's a mini disc player under the counter.
They haven't updated it since the days of mini disc.
No, mini discs are the format of the future, don't you know? Don't know why we're dragging like Warhammer World so hard. It's actually fun.
I like the idea of the Mechanicus actually having mini discs like that,
and that just being one step closer to the Omnisire.
Yeah, there's something funny about that to me. But yeah, so
clipping them onto the roads.
Bunch of stuff has been announced. Like I said, there's a handful of other little bits and pieces, especially to do with Sigmar. But it's not really something that we know about or are qualified to talk about. But
I am.
Funding...
I'll just make you guys feel bad because I know literally everything about Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar.
That is true.
I do.
You know literally everything.
Yeah, ask me something about it.
Okay. Where did Sigmar come from?
He came from Mars.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay.
Tech Priests dug him up. They were
Okay.
oh, fuck it, Sigmar. And he was like, you're right, mates.
Is this dealing with the idea that 40k and fantasy exist in the same universe?
Yes, it is. But the thing is, it's not like massive, because then he just jumps up real high because he gets bored one day and he just thinks his legs are being lazy, so he jumps really hard at the sky and then just pops into, like, I don't know, the webway, and then pops out on Sigmarius, which is the planet that Warhammer Fantasy takes place on. And then they're like, shit, this guy fell from the sky.
You know, it's really good that Michael isn't on this podcast, because if he was, he would...
Michael would be fucking foaming at the mouth.
The audio would be ruined by the sound of his teeth grinding.
Yeah. But yeah, email all of your questions about Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar to me, because I will answer them correctly.
Christ.
Don't listen to the false prophet Michael from Tactica Imperialis. He thinks he knows everything about Warhammer Fantasy.
But really, you're the
He
big
learned
expert.
all of his knowledge from books and playing and stuff like that. I just fucking know it inherently.
That is true.
I'm a warlock of Warhammer knowledge.
Anyway, I'm going to move on to some general housekeeping that we've got to do.
Please do.
So first off, as people who caught the most recent couple of streams will have seen, we are currently doing a little bit of a fundraising thing to upgrade our PC.
Yes.
Because our PC is quite old. We've had like a single upgrade to its graphics card in the entire time we've been doing the channel.
Because the old graphics card just stopped fucking functioning.
Yes. So we decided to upgrade, and to do so we are going to be debasing ourselves on Twitch on a much more regular basis, doing dumb shit.
I did a draw stream where I drew the title card for this week's video, well, previous week's video, for Ion Maiden.
Yes.
And we hung out, we had a lot of fun, listened to some FTL soundtrack and the Binding of Isaac soundtrack, because, you know, apparently I want to, like, hype up and then depress the viewers.
Yes.
Because I'm just that type of arse.
But yeah, so for the next couple of months, most live streams, because there may be some that won't, will have the little bar at the top that has like a donation ticker, and underneath the stream there's a big button which is Ricardo Montalban's chest from Wrath of Khan.
His Khan titties.
That you can press and donate money towards a new PC.
Donations are not expected, but
Yes.
they are appreciated.
And we'd like to give a special little mention to a couple of people who donated a frankly crazy amount of money to us already for this, which is Inquisitor Shanus and Juhust, who
Knocked us for 6.
yes, it's so we're already over halfway to our goal.
And thank you everyone who donated.
Yes, thank
as
you
well.
to everyone. Just we wanted to mention the couple of very big donations, because it kind of knocked us for 6, honestly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, and yeah, thank you to everyone else who's donated so far.
I hope those two people are British, otherwise they won't know what you mean by knocked them for 6.
Knocked us for 6 is knocked us on our arse. We are shocked and surprised, speechless, gobsmacked. Yeah, there we go.
You could have just made up a bunch of stuff, and anyone who's not British would have just believed it was true.
Sexually aroused by the thought of peanuts.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to sit on my hands.
But yeah, so
Buttery hands.
there is one other little thing we need to mention about what's going off on the channel, which is that we are doing a live MisanthroPod for the next episode, because it will be the 50th episode.
And we'll have been doing this for at least 4 years.
It'll be just over 2 years.
No, it's 4.
It's not, no.
Pretty sure it's 4.
It's absolutely not.
I did the math.
You did it wrong.
I did the monster math.
Fuck off. Like, I spend like 20% of my time hearing you say things and just telling you to fuck off these days.
I'm pretty sure that's what's always happened in our relationship. It's like what I said the other day, and you just told me to get the fuck out. Well,
I don't know.
I can't narrow it down.
There is a list
there
of
was so
things,
many.
I believe. But anyway, yeah, we're doing a live one. It's all going well. Like, we'll obviously announce if anything changes.
Keep an eye on our Twitter and Facebook
Yeah.
and Discord.
But it'll be live on Twitch on the 7th of April at 7 p.m. GMT.
Yeah.
So 7 p.m. British time.
It'll be BST by that point because it'll be summertime.
You motherfucker.
But doesn't... Well, yeah, okay.
Because BST is GMT plus 1, right?
No, I thought like London was GMT plus 0.
Yeah, it is. But in summertime, that you add an hour.
No!
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
No!
Daylight saving time is stupid.
It's stupid!
It's a thing that happens.
Yeah, regardless.
It should be 7 o'clock British time.
Yeah, okay, your country's fucking weird, dude.
Okay, can I get to the end of this small announcement before we tangent any more?
You might have to start it again. GMT? I think you mean BST.
Okay, so, live MisanthroPod, 7th of April, at 7 o'clock British time. It'll go up a couple of days later on YouTube and iTunes, but it'll be live on Twitch at twitch.tv/SnipeandWib. Hopefully it won't be a disaster, because we don't know what we're doing, but it will probably be a disaster. Tune in to watch us fail.
Are we going to prepare for it any more than we prepare for a normal episode?
No, but I'd like there to be alcohol.
I think that would be a very poor choice.
Well, I know, it depends which alcohol you want.
I
Drummer Matt, drink with me. To the glory of France and Britain finally being friends. I guess. Are they still... Well, they're technically friends, they're not at war.
No, we're not at war. Britain is not at war with France.
I just said that, no.
And it
So
has
they're
not
friends
been
now.
for quite some time.
But, you know, who knows what tomorrow holds.
Well, in this unstable economy. What with Brexit and all.
Oh, God. Don't get me fucking started.
Anyway.
So, Wib, what have you been up to these past 2 weeks, dear?
Not a lot that I can really talk too much about, because it's stuff that we've both done and will be occurring in your little section.
That sounds
really
really fucking bad.
That sounded bad, didn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's so bad.
Drummer Matt, do you know what pegging is?
Anyway, the only thing to mention is the book that I was reading last time, the New Writings in SF-14. I finally finished that. The one that was a compilation of sci-fi stories from 1969.
With
the Meatballians
nice,
and the donuts and things.
who hate their families because they can't fuck them.
Yeah, basically, that one.
Isn't that a lot of us?
That's not why I hate my family, but you know. Different strokes, I guess. Poor phrasing.
Very poor phrasing. But yeah, so I've read the rest of the stories in it, and they're all what you'd expect, you know, little sci-fi stories. Some of them are a bit pretentious. There's one that deals with first contact, and how basically a human encounters aliens that are like too perfect, and basically tells the aliens to leave because humans are garbage.
Run while you still can, perfect aliens.
Yeah, and has to escape, trying to escape from the government, because the government are trying to track him down because they know he spoke to aliens, but they don't know what happened.
I told them to fuck off, I swear.
And there's another one where a guy gets his tether cut and he's just floating in space, and him going through an existential crisis.
Oh wow!
It's a bit grim.
Which is it was a short one, but it was an interesting little story. But there's one that was particularly interesting, which was called The Ballad of Luna Lil. And what it actually was like an almost historical breakdown of a ballad that was written in like the past, but it's like
This distant space future of 1999.
But yeah, it was written many centuries from now, but being retold and analysed from a historical context several thousand years from now. So about how...
like how we sit there and analyse Shakespeare and whatnot.
Yeah, basically like that. But it's, this about how some, like, ragamuffin, some pirate called, I think it was Black Bart, I think his name was. And his, how he fell in love and ran away with, like, this popular singer called Luna Lil. And how her, like, guitarist wrote a ballad about what happened when the government came to... get her back because they treated it like it was a kidnapping, and how their destruction of the planet inevitably led to like the downfall of the Space Kings, because it like galvanized the people against them. It's by what was his name? Sidney J. Bounds was the author. It's actually really hard to find any information about it online. I think I found like on the Wikipedia entry there's like the line that says it's a short story he wrote, and that's it.
Oh dang.
I couldn't find anything else about it online. It's possibly up there somewhere, but you know, it's some of these things can be a little hard to track down. But I just thought that was really interesting, so I really like that
That's
thing
a really
of
cool concept.
yeah, of like looking at these things from a fake history perspective, like they're breaking it down and going, oh yes, well you see this line, they're talking about his ancient space vehicle, but obviously this line was interpreted retroactively because the vehicle that we know he's historically used was actually a fairly common vehicle of the time. And they talk about its speed being light speed, but it wouldn't have been because they only had near light drives at that time. They wouldn't actually able to break FTL. Like breaking every line down like that of talking about the context of it and like, yes, we actually know what Black Bart looked like, but we don't know what Luna Lil looked like. So the descriptions in here are likely just
romantic ideals.
Romantic idealization. We don't know what she looked like at all. And it's like really interesting to go through that. I mean, yeah, some of the stories in the book were interesting like that, and the fucking Planet Meatball one.
I mean, that was definitely interesting.
And there's some that I literally have already forgotten. And the one thing that was really nice, because it was written in 1969, and entirely every single story is by men, I was expecting it to get a bit funny about women.
It was of the time, wasn't it? I
Or
mean,
maybe,
you kind of got to expect that reading old media.
But apart from the last story, it was mostly fine.
I mean, to be fair, is that Luna Lil?
No, the last story was the one with First Contact, and even then, it's not like outrageously bad because I've watched a lot of old movies and read a lot of old fiction, and some of it gets really bad. It wasn't too bad, but it was definitely a little uncomfortable at times.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to say I can understand the Luna Lil one was a bit iffy because
even that one wasn't so bad because it was talking about things in such a kind of cold and pragmatic way that it didn't get too bad into that.
Well, no, fair enough. But no, that's interesting.
But yeah, so that was a nice little bonus to it. And yeah, if you ever find this book from 1969, it's worth a read. It's interesting to see how science fiction was treated at a time that was, I mean, I guess these stories would have been written just post things like Star Trek and Star Wars coming out, so it wasn't like sci-fi now where it's
it was if you'll pardon the phrase, like the Wild West.
Yeah. No, of course it's not out after Star Wars because Star Wars 1977.
Yeah,
my brain
I was gonna say something, but I was like, wait, hang on.
Yeah, no. Whereas Star Trek was 1968 or something, I think, around then.
No
the first original Star Trek series came out. So yeah, it's an interesting kind of glimpse into a pre-hugely franchised sci-fi world, which was interesting. But apart from that, I haven't really got anything else to talk about, I'm afraid. I'll just mention the next book I've moved on to is the Black Library compilation book that
we got when we picked up Greg.
Yeah, we got when we picked up our Greg.
Greg.
So I'm reading through that. So that's. I shall come back with a mini
Regale
review.
us with tales.
I'll regale you of the tales of the Imperium and some Age of Sigmar stories, actually.
Oh,
So-
I already know them.
well, yeah.
I know all of them. I wrote them.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Pen names though, because I don't want. I literally write every Warhammer Fantasy story, but I use
know,
different pen
yeah.
names. I've ghostwritten for Gav Thor because he's known famously for all of the Age of Sigmar stories he writes.
I think
All
he
of
has
them.
actually. I think he
No,
has
that's
actually
the
written
only
one.
thing he writes.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes. I'm getting you a peek behind the curtain here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So apart from being a repository of all knowledge of things Age of Sigmar, what have you been up to?
That's pretty much it, to be fair. No, well, speaking about Warhammer and whatnot, we played Space Hulk the other day.
Yeah, we went to the gaming cafe again. and
Played some Space
Hulk.
Hulk, yeah. Talking to the guy behind the counter saying, yeah, we played Space Crusade, we probably would play it again, but, you want to play something new. And the guy was like, play Space Hulk. Or Blood Bowl, and I was like, nah.
I've heard Blood Bowl is really, really
I've
fun.
heard it's good, but I don't know, I just don't think I'll be able to ever get into it.
I think it's probably one of those things that'll be fine once you've learnt the rules.
Yeah, the video game version does basically follow the rules of the board game.
It does,
right?
yeah.
It's not super...
So that's probably a good way to learn.
Yeah, it's not super complicated.
Honestly, it doesn't snag me. It
Okay,
just doesn't
okay.
latch my interest enough. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are like, that's my favourite game, but I'm sorry. It's not something I can really get myself into.
But yeah, Space Hulk was fun, though.
It was, yeah. I did find that a lot of fun. Like, there were a lot of kind of rules that were quite similar with Space Crusade. Like, you lay out the board, you have, like, different scenarios to run through with objectives, Space Marine team, Xeno's team. It was fun. It was really cool. The miniatures are pretty rad as well.
Oh yeah,
amazingly fucking rad.
So when's this one from?
This is the one from... when would it come out?
More recent than Space Crusade.
It's the most recent edition, so it's the one with the really nice Blood Angel sculpts in it.
Oh, there are some... They are so cool.
And they are really, really nice looking models. But yeah, the weird thing is, and I didn't realise this, is that the missions in the current Space Hulk are still the same ones they used to be. So when I was looking for the audio for the guy in the Space Hulk 90s video game, the original one, I wanted the audio of him talking so that we could make a Twitch announcement thing for when someone donated.
You mean for bloody Brother Flappy Mouth?
Yeah, so...
oh, Brother Flappy Mouth.
So I was looking that up, and then I realised that the intro he's giving is for, Mission 1, Suicide Mission, which is the first one in the present-day Space Hulk. I was like, oh, that's neat.
It's really fucking cool.
Like, they've kept the same missions from back in the day. That's fun.
Yeah, they have, like a lot of it is quite similar, again, to Space Crusade. They've implemented a little egg timer. So the Marine player has timed movements, like timed phases. So at the start of your turn, you flip the egg timer over, and you've got to finish up before the time runs out.
Okay, I like that.
Which is horrible.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it sounds awful, but it sounds good.
But that is actually quite fun. It keeps it going, keeps it snappy. Okay. It's quite good.
It's actually went really, really quick because we went into it sort of like rushing through things because we were expecting it to be kind of like Space Crusade and how long it'd take to actually learn and play. But we ended up like doing it, and once the game got started, we burned through the mission like super quick.
It was really snappy, really good. The first the mission objective for the first one, Suicide Mission, is get to this place on the map with your flamer guy intact, and he has to have ammo because you have ammo, and just flame any square in this room. And it's like, that sounds relatively simple. When you're facing a Gene Stealer horde, it is slightly less simple.
Yeah, Gene Stealers absolutely mince the Terminators in close combat.
So every unit has its own kind of movement points. Certain things cost certain amounts of points. So I think it's standard Marines have I think they all just have 4 each.
Marines all have 4, Gene Stealers have 6.
Yeah, because they're faster. And because you're in tactical Dreadnought armor, you aren't as fast, which is why if you want to turn like 90 degrees, that takes like a movement point.
Yeah.
Because you're a big fucking tactical Dreadnought boy. So, and if you want to put them on Overwatch, it's 2 points, and if you want to like attack, so it's like, it does seem kind of a little bit overwhelming, but once you get into it, it makes complete sense. You also like randomly pick a token at the beginning of it as a Space Marine player and turn it over, and there's a number on that, and that's how many bonus points you have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was moving through, putting my dudes on Overwatch, because you can see the little blips. They have like little Auspex blips, like they do in Space Crusade.
Yeah, it is in a lot of ways. I can kind of see why people think of it as being the spiritual successor to Space Crusade. It's very similar.
Yeah, but yeah. So I had to get along the road and rock up to this room on the other side of the board, which is all like little tiles, and you pop them out. Like, I looked at some of the later missions, and some of them have, like, second floors and shit, and it's like,
I guess it can get very complex.
But start off, it was only one level with a few doors, and, like, a couple of alternate paths, so it was pretty simple to start out with. And I start rocking out, and Wib gets 2 tokens every one of his turns, which doesn't sound like much, but shit does that mount up.
Oh yeah, because some of them represent like multiple Gene Stealers.
There was one he turned over when because they are blips on the Auspex until you establish line of sight, in which case the models are revealed. His Tyranid kind of like ran past, and it was like, oh yeah, I'll turn over my token. It was 3 of them.
Oh, I've got loads of those.
Fucking Tyranid Gene Stealers. Yeah, there was like 3 of them. Immediately, that was the first time this happened, and I was like, oh shit. That's probably bad.
But yeah, fortunately, because you had the flamethrower guy in this mission, there's quite a few occasions where just trying to get my Tyranids close to you, they were all kind of lined up nicely so that you could just point the flamer down the thing and would kill like 5.
It had like a range of 12, and I think the furthest you got like the furthest away your guys were about a 10. So they all lined up down a hallway, and I was like, well, I don't really want to use my flamer ammo because you have like 6 points. I think I ended it with 4 or 3, so I did pretty well.
Yeah, no, I think you had I think you had 3 things left, but the thing is that he was the last guy. He
was the last guy because I had my HQ choice was basically my flamer guy was going up the corridor, and my HQ choice was basically backing up behind him, facing, like, the entirety of the fucking Gene Stealer force.
Yeah.
And he got fucking torn down, and I needed to roll. Oh, what was it? I needed to get a token that had at least, like, 2
extra points.
2 extra points if I wanted to, 1, get to the door of the room I needed to set fire to, 2, turn around, and then an extra couple to shoot into it.
Yeah.
And I luckily picked up a 2-point counter. So I literally had just enough. And it was terrifying, but it was so good. I lucked out so hard.
Yeah. Because, like, the next turn, I probably would have ran up behind you
You
and
would
done
have
terrible
run up
things
behind
to
me and torn chunks out of me. But no, I just managed it. It was crazy.
But yeah, so we'll probably go back at some point and have a few games of the other missions as well.
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun.
That's what I was going to say, because I'm back for a couple of weeks. And I've got various plans at weekends and things, but actually I've got quite a few days where I've not got any plans. So
then come over. We'll go play Space Hulk or whatever.
Sounds excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What else have you been up to?
Well, we played Ion Maiden.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's a very fun and interesting kind of game. So Iron Maiden is not only a very clever title because it's Ion Maiden, which sounds like Iron Maiden.
It is, yes.
Get it?
Yes.
Like that band that was headed by that British politician that no one liked.
I don't believe Margaret Thatcher was the lead singer of the new wave of British heavy metal band Iron Maiden.
Well, why would they have the same name? Yeah, exactly. So Iron Maiden...
I don't think that really... dignifying that with a response would really just encourage you, I feel.
I think regardless of what you do, I won't shut up.
That's true. Mm-hmm. His history has borne that fact out.
Never has a truer thing been said.
Okay, fuck the lot of yous, to start with. Iron Maiden! It's pretty good, isn't it?
It is pretty good.
I like it. It's actually made on the build engine. Or at least a heavily modified version.
Which, just as a question for, the useless people who don't know what that is. That isn't me at all. The build engine is...
The build engine is like Duke Nukem, Blood, Shadow Warrior, all the old kind of 2.5D shooters were built on the build engine.
Okay.
So, yeah, like 3D environments with a lot of sprites in it.
Okay. This is a 20-plus year old engine.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And they've actually made it on that. It's very, quite heavily modified. There's a lot more pixels in it, you see.
There is a lot more pixels.
A lot more resolution, one might say.
It didn't look like there was much resolution.
Well, it
You're
is
calling me out.
It is shockingly running at 1080.
It is, yes.
Okay.
But
and
yeah, like comparatively, trust me, it does look a hell of a lot smoother.
Okay.
I will say our video did not look as smooth as the game can do because for reasons that I am completely unable to understand, it did not record at 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
It recorded at like just slightly under 30. For some reason.
It was more cinematic that way.
It was Ubisoft mode. But no, I don't understand why, because I have no explanations to it, because the way our recording setup works is that it should record at 60 even if the game was running at 30, which it wasn't. It was running at several hundred frames a second.
Yeah. So who the fuck knows what was going off with that? But it does look better than the video. But yeah, no, it's still in early access. It's not out officially yet. They've released a preview campaign, which is what I was playing, which is about 2-3 hours long apparently. And yeah, I like it. It's got a lot of the old trappings of the old school kind of shooters, which basically I cut my teeth on and still love dearly. Like Blood being one of my favourite games of all fucking time.
Yes.
I keep quiet about it, but some eagle-eared viewers might have noticed.
I believe some people may have noticed.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's like little touches of things, there's little references, like Who Wants Some Wang, and fucking, God, Shadow Warrior was so terrible. Oh god, it was a different time, I swear. But yeah, I really hope they release like a map builder That would be really cool, like proper old build engine map builder. I used to spend hours making my own maps as a little girl. Oh god.
Didn't you used to use it like a doll's house?
Yeah, I used the Shadow Warrior like Sailor Moon sprites that they basically just traced from like Takeuchi's manga, and like just I'd make little like beds for them and stuff and like little like things like that. I thought that was fun. Just like figuring out like how I'd give them a pool and I'd figure out okay, so how do I make the pool? The way it used to be was you'd put like it doesn't matter what texture you'd put on it. But you'd have to designate a surface as, like, the beginning point. Then you'd have to go off and build, like, the underwater section somewhere else.
So underwater is, like, a different instance entirely?
It's a different instance entirely. Okay. You just need to put, like, they had little sprites that were, like, rectangles, like, with different colours and different names and the different, like, numeral designations. So they'd be like, oh, this would be a 1.2, and you need to put a 1.3 or a 2.2 or whatever at the top of the underwater segment, so you would designate it as underwater, and then you just... So yeah, like, I was doing all that as a little girl, which honestly was pretty fucking impressive. I was terrible at schoolwork and anything else, but this I gave a fuck about, so...
That's how it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, I hope they put like a build in there. That would be, like a map maker, that would be fun.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, and I can't see why they wouldn't, considering that it's fundamentally...
Just that stuff kind of came with it, and it was just...
Yeah. I would consider when the full thing comes out, if it doesn't come with an editor, I would consider that to be weird.
It's ticking all the boxes of the old school kind of shooters so well. So that, I mean, they're talking about working on multiplayer as well.
Oh yeah.
Which will be interesting to see the different just red, blues, and pinks and purple bombshell ladies running around as it was. So yeah, back in the day when you'd have Duke Nukems with orange trousers. But yeah, no, I do enjoy that. It's just what I'm used to in a more modern interpretation. Yeah. So yeah.
I will say, we had it's probably worth checking out some. If you saw our video and you're like, I'm not so sure, go have a look at some other videos of it. Because as I say, ours
fucked up a lot. Like the actual just recording process made it fucking laggy and made the autosave and autoload functions take fucking forever.
So yeah,
it did not get on well with Shadowplay at all.
I don't know if it is a lot better with other recording software, but yeah, our particular experience was not optimal in terms of recording thing. But you've obviously played it off camera as well,
and it runs a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, but yeah. What else did I say, knowing exactly what you're going to say?
Shit ton of Vermintide 2.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I fucking love that game. Oh! Oh my god, Vermintide 2. It ties in with my encyclopedic knowledge of Warhammer Fantasy.
Vermintide 2 is a very good video game.
Oh, I've been having so much fun. I've been playing with Longfang a lot, and I've started playing on a harder difficulty. Drummer Matt, if you're even vaguely interested, please play with us. Please play with me.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. It's just the idea of buying a game at full price.
It's like 20 quid, dude.
Yeah, I know. It is actually an alarmingly reasonable price. But, yeah.
No, okay, I'm not going to bully you into it, but, I would think you'd quite enjoy it. And plus, I'd drag you around everywhere. So it'd be fun to actually play it, because I can't remember the last time I played a video game.
I was tempted, but then knowing that I'm coming home for 2 weeks without my PC, I'm like, well, there's no point in getting it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So maybe when I come back.
Yeah, but no, I really do enjoy it. There's a few problems with it, because I played it in the beta because I bought it a week before it was officially released, before it was officially out, and which is not something I usually do.
No,
it's not something you should ever do, but
not something you should really ever do. And I was kind of
not to judge you for it.
Yeah, no. I mean, what my thought process was, okay, I liked Vermintide 1, but there was a fuckload of problems with it, and there were. I'll play a little bit of this and really kind of try and be not dazzled by, oh, it's more of the same thing I like or whatever, and just try and be really objective. And if I don't like it, I'll refund it and come back when they fix it, or come back maybe at one point when it's on sale. But no, I got it and I was like, no, this is really good. This is there was a good few bugs, but they fixed them. They fixed a lot of them when the game was released.
Yeah, to sort of like just kind of front load like the cons up front.
Yeah.
There are some parts where it's a bit rough around the edges in terms of like there's some times where you'll see gaps in maps and things.
Yeah. There's like little bits of gaps like that. There's the localization is still completely fucking insane and off. They're working at it. They have just set out a bunch of nerfs for bosses and difficulties.
Because there were some pretty rough difficulty spikes.
Yeah, there were some insane difficulty hikes, but, I mean, like, Vermintide is not an easy game, so I didn't like it, but it wasn't a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can say that I did like, I think it is easier than the first game, at least
I think
to
it
get
controls
used to.
way better. I think it's a lot tighter put together.
Yeah, because
they learned a lot from the first game.
Because whilst I really liked Vermintide 1, I could never get into it. I wanted
really
to like it, but I would get so... What's the word? I would get kind of overloaded with stuff happening whilst I was playing it, and I never felt like I was actually able to help my team because I was just smashing things, and then I'd be left behind. And I don't know what, it was just so much more intense than like Left 4 Dead, which is like a comparable experience. But then playing this one, I've been like, no, I fucking love this. And by the way, I do play a small dwarf with a giant axe. It's great. Who takes all the damage.
Team Mum is amazing. I love him so much. He's a little tanky boy, and he's amazing.
So who are the characters? Are the same as the first game?
The same as the first game. There's Barden the dwarf. There's Kruber the soldier.
The dwarf with a big axe.
Big axe. Kruber, who's got gun and sword. Saltspire, who's got a salty butthole, who's a witch hunter.
Okay.
You got Sienna.
He's the one with the gun and sword.
He's the one with the gun and the rapier. Then you got Sienna, the bright wizard, who's basically like, I think she's like crazy fire mage, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Carillion, the ranger elf, and that's it. Yeah.
And it's always you play with the 4 characters.
Yeah. Well, there's 5 of them, so
yeah.
there's obviously different ways you can combine them to make different teams.
Yeah. So the different team compositions, they've got different weapons that you can unlock. There's loot boxes, but there's no microtransactions. It's after every level you get a loot box, and you get modifiers during the level, which is like the dice from the first game, but in this it's a little bit more simplified now. So you can pick up loot dice. It gives you bonuses to XP on your XP bar. Well, it's more like your loot bar, and every time that fills up, it goes up a rank and gives you better chances of good stuff. And every time you level up, you get one, and every time you finish a scenario, you get one. So you get a lot of stuff, and you can melt them all down, and you can craft your own like new weapons, or you can there's like low key transmogging as well, so you can extract the transmog from certain weapons. Well, it's referred to as illusions, or you can craft yourself new weapons with blueprints. They've also added different, what are they called? They're not occupations or jobs, but they're basically like subclasses.
Yeah, basically each character has 3 subclasses that you can pick.
Yeah, so like you get the first one on everyone for free, and then at level 7 you unlock the secondary one, and then you unlock the third one at like level 12. And every subclass has its own kind of, for lack of a better word, an ultimate. So you have like a bar that charges, and every class has a different one. So with Barden.
With Barden, his initial one is he has a survival build, and it makes him go invisible. Basically,
he drops
his special ability does. His second one makes him into a super tank character, which is the one that I usually play. So he's like super heavily armored, and his ability basically taunts everyone around him and gives him even more abilities to shrug off attacks. And his third one he's a slayer.
Yeah, he's a slayer.
The naked dwarf slayer. Although he's wearing trousers, I'm afraid to say.
Oh.
And he just,
it'd be great if they just gave him a really long beard.
And his ability jumps at enemies. Although, and I'll just point this out, if you jump at an enemy, you don't stop because you hit them. I found this out when I jumped at a chaos spawn and leaped off the map.
Yeah.
Because I was too close to him and just leaped into a lake.
That was pretty fun.
And died instantly. So I was like, oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I really like the fact that they've added in new subclasses. I think I'd like to see more added in the future.
Yeah, I think that'd
be really cool.
I think they're more likely to add subclasses than to add more characters.
I don't really want them to add new characters because I'm not I'm not really interested.
Yeah.
I think more subclasses will do, because then you've got the nice kind of like the Uberstrike 5,
Yeah.
4, whatever. Not
Although,
important.
You know the best part about Vermintide 2? The Twitch integration.
The Twitch integration is amazing. Okay, so we streamed this with Longfang the other week, and what you do is you go in and you click on the Twitch integration button. You can only do this in a private game, so you can only do it with you and your friends. You can't just take this into a public match and just make everyone else's lives the worst. So you go in, you type in the name of your stream channel. It's Snipe and Wib. And then occasionally what will happen is a vote will come up on the screen. And it'll be like, vote for who gets the grenade. And people type like hashtag A, B, C, or D to vote who they want to have it. Or sometimes it'll be like, do you want them to fight a Chaos Spawn or a Rat Ogre? And people will always choose the worst possible thing.
Well, so often...
And it's amazing. It's such a fucking difficulty hike, and it's like just chat throwing shit at you. Because every time they kind of vote for an elite, like a Blightstorm or whatever, it spawns like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah. So
which is fucking tricky as hell.
But it is a lot of fun, because your things will come up and it's like, oh, do you want to give them a health potion or spawn a Rat Ogre? And people will inevitably always pick the Rat Ogre.
Yeah. Always.
Or
they'll be super cheeky, and it'll be like, oh, like if there's like 2 nice choices, it'll be like health regeneration, like for like, I don't know, 30 seconds you regenerate health. Or it can be a grenade or like a special potion. And they'll vote for the bot to have it. Because they don't want you to have it. They're like, no. Give the strength potion to Sienna, the magic user. Yeah, fuck you guys. It's awesome.
The most recent, it won't be the most recent at the time, but we put up the VOD of the stream on YouTube. We'd actually done a thing where we've got the chat on screen for it.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see, like, even on the YouTube video, when those things come up, you'll see, Chaos Spawn is hashtag A. You'll just see a bunch of hashtag A's just sprawl up the screen.
Yep. And I really do think the Twitch integration is just so much fun. It adds such an extra element of just chaos. No, like...
Pun intended.
No pun intended. Because, they also, they put Nurgle Boys in this one as well. So it's not just Skaven. It's like yucky, plaguey Chaos Boys as well.
Quick question, because obviously we talked about it a little bit last week, but did they change anything from its pre-release build that you played? Or was it just general bits of
bits of tightening up, honestly.
Okay.
We were so busy that week, I only got to play it like twice.
Yeah.
So it was like...
But in short, there are some parts, like I mentioned earlier, that are a little rough about the game.
There are a couple of bugs but it's... no, they're working on it, and I'm actually quite pleased with how much effort they're actually putting in.
And the things that are kind of wrong with it aren't, deal breakers. They're just, like I say, there's, things where, through this gap in a door, I can see through the world, but the game is still really fun. And to be fair, I've not really got into a multiplayer game for a long time, and I've been playing it just as much as Snipe has, and
which is a lot.
And that's that's the game that I've been playing for the last 2 weeks, as I've just been playing Vermintide, and I think that's it. I don't know. I think the only other time games have been booted up is when it's been directly related to the channel. And even then, we've managed to find a lot of times to play Vermintide for the channel too, so...
this is actually really why you're wanting to do more streaming, because you want more legit reasons to play Vermintide.
But so Vermintide is great. We really enjoy it.
Vermintide 2 is really fun. It's fantastic.
But we should probably...
I kind of want to go play it now.
We should probably let Matt talk a bit, though.
Sure, Matt. What are your thoughts on Vermintide 2, and why are we playing it after?
Also, Matt, what have you been doing over the last 2 weeks?
Not playing Vermintide, so you
podcast
don't care,
over.
It's not that we don't care, it's just we won't be paying attention.
Yeah, okay.
You nasty fucking spore. What have you been doing? We are interested regardless of whether it's got anything to do with Vermintide 2.
So, video games. I've been playing more Fallout 4, as I'm sure no one will...
Have you got out the starting area yet?
Yeah. I'm 91 hours in. And
so yeah, you've just got out the starting area.
I've done a little bit outside the starting area. Yeah, I've been doing as many side missions as I can, but I have been doing some of the main missions as well, actual story missions. So
nice.
My character is screaming internally slightly less.
Good.
I don't have much to say. I'm sure I'll talk about it when I finish, but for now I'm just kind of spending all my time doing that.
Yeah. Still enjoying it?
Still enjoying it. No, I'm really enjoying it, actually.
I'm glad.
It is a very good game. I've just got a nice new. I've finally got my setup sorted. So I've got a good silence pistol and a good silent sniper.
So you're not using your weird hybrid thing anymore?
Yeah, no, I actually got a real sniper that was half decent. So yeah, and they keep getting given like weird energy weapons, but I'm just like, nah, they can just be sold to someone who needs some weird alien technology, because I'm happy with my mundane pistol that's got a silence on it, because you can still one-shot basically everything. So as long as I'm like stealthed, which is quite nice. My game for the week, or my game for the podcast, I played Blood Dragon.
Oh, nice!
Oh, Blood Dragon is rad.
Because I hadn't played it before, and
it's very good.
Well, I played it for about an hour and a half. And,
that's the whole of it, isn't it?
Well, I don't know, because I stopped playing because, you know what, I didn't like it.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I've heard so many good things, and it opens up so promisingly with you just in this fucking helicopter minigunning.
Long Tall Sally playing.
Long Tall Sally playing.
Yeah, it opens up so well. And then, I don't know, it just starts the gameplay, and then it's like, cool, you know, minigun and music and everything and run forwards and things, but it's like, oh, bonus points if you stealth kill these things. You know, well, hang on, wait, do you want me to stealth this, or do you want me to, like, go full out 80s-y? And then I was like, well, fuck it, you know, I always play these games the stealth way, but this isn't a mainline Far Cry game or anything. This is like, the whole point of this is you go nuts and run around shooting things. So I tried that, and then pretty much instantly die repeatedly, because as soon as anyone sees you, they set the alarms off and everyone's there. So I'm like, well, so you're wanting me to be stealthy. So then I did that for a bit, but then I'm like, well, at this point, this is no different to Fallout 3. Far Cry 3. And I was like, well, I'm enjoying the jokes and I'm enjoying the setting, but at the same time, I played Far Cry 3, I enjoyed it, but I was kind of done with it. And then you get like an hour in or whatever, and you finish the intro bits, and it opens up into the world, and go, right, okay, well, go and, you know, liberate these outposts and do this. And so this literally is just Far Cry 3 again.
Yeah, I would say the biggest fault of that game is that it's built on the Far Cry 3 engine, and it's like, it's like, even in Far Cry 3, it's like, it would try and encourage you and give you feats and stuff to go out there and just guns blazing, but the engine sucked
so much
for that.
For doing that, because it's just, you just die instantly. And yeah, okay, fine, mate, you could argue that's because I'm not very good at not doing it the stealthy way, which is, I guess, valid. But I don't know, it just,
the game does really set you up to just run in guns blazing with your dick swinging.
Yeah, that's exactly
if you
what I
ever
wanted.
try and do that, you get fucking mutilated.
So
as the person here who has 100% of Blood Dragon,
as the person here who sucks at first-person stealth games.
Yeah, but that's not relevant right now.
No.
I think the reason why I really like Blood Dragon is because I sit from a very unique position. Is that I never played a Far Cry 3, apart from, I think I played it in the video we did. So that's like an hour and a half of playing it, and that's it. Mm-hmm. I never played that game to death or spent all those hours. So for me, the Far Cry 3 gameplay was completely fresh, but with this veneer of the 80s nonsense over it. So that was still the thing. But I do think the game does have one major problem, and that is that it does sell itself, especially at the start, as if it is you're gonna play it like it's fucking Doom.
Yeah. That's what I was kind of hoping for.
But that's not the game it is. What it is a slightly more forgiving Far Cry 3.
Yeah. No, I mean, and why I say that joking about you sucking at stealth games, it's just that it has been adjusted so that stealth isn't as mandatory, but it's still incredibly needed.
You absolutely still have to play it like it's Far Cry. Until you get... I seem to remember once you get towards the end and you've got all the upgrades and...
You mean where the game should have started?
The game's not. The game isn't as short as you think it is.
No, I mean, once you've unlocked all the big daddy things, it's like, which it probably should have just left unlocked at the beginning, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, well, it's not that bad
to give you the running in.
Yeah, but I think that's like its biggest fault is that it does kind of market itself as a game that it kind of isn't.
No, like, it was just, it's just like I wanted it to be something different, I think. And I've heard,
Yeah.
I'd heard from it was all of the cool 80s, like, ridiculous, and the jokes, and the dick swinging, and the being a badass. And I just didn't, kind of, in my head, I didn't put it, I was like, okay, that would be, and I'm enjoying my stealthy Fallout 4 run at the moment, so I was like, well, I don't need 2 of these, like, I don't know. I think I was just hoping it was something that it wasn't.
No, dude, I get that. That's
so I might give it another go when I'm sort of going into it in that mindset at some point in the future. But I went into it hoping it'd be like a relatively short, just to go in and shoot shit for a few hours and then finish and enjoy the story on the way through.
Yeah.
Although I do remember that you couldn't play it because it gave you fucking migraine.
It made me feel really sick, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could not play. I think I got like half an hour, 45 minutes in, and I started feeling really fucking ill.
It's all the strobing
All the
effects
strobing and stuff. I was just like, oh god, my
that.
eyes are falling out of my head. But no, it's like, this is the thing. It's like, I love the concept. I love it so much. But I completely understand how it would really turn someone off. I totally get it.
Like I say, it's I think its biggest problem is like, it's not even a marketing thing. It's just the game pretends it's something that it's not really.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I mean, well, good on you for trying something new.
But yeah, no, it's I'm not like rage. I didn't hate it. I'm not rage or installing it. It's just it wasn't what I wanted. So I kind of stopped.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, like I said, I'll hopefully go back to it at some point. When I'm not like maining a stealth game, when I make sort of that can take up my stealth game slot for a bit.
No, I get you, dude.
But yeah, you been up to it else?
So I haven't mentioned it for a while, but you know, I've my list of films that I'm embarrassed to have not seen, and I really should do.
Yes.
Which I'm if anyone is interested, it's just on a Google Doc, so I'm happy to like publish it somewhere, not publish, you know what I mean, like show it off somewhere if anyone is interested as to what's on the list.
If anyone wants Dramatic to put up a list there so you can systematically go through and tweet spoilers at him like a jerk.
Oh god, yeah, people will do that, won't they? Actually, no, they won't. People who emailed me are actually all really nice, pretty much. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, there might be like one person who is just like, who maybe thinks it's funny and maybe wouldn't realise.
But
do you know that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's dad?
He was a ghost the whole time.
He was yes,
he was Darth Vader was a ghost the whole time. Did you know that? But you didn't fucking know that.
No, that was way better than I was going to say. So yeah, no.
Great.
Anyway, DramaPod.
Off that list, we finally watched the original Terminator. Pardon?
Good choice.
So for context,
I'm just going to say right now, try not to get so excited when talking about this that you blow out the microphone really badly.
As if I would.
As if I have to fix that every other week.
Whenever someone mentions the Terminator.
It comes up more than you think.
Tell me about it, DramaPod.
So,
I need this.
for reference, I've seen Terminator 2 many times.
I think a lot of people have seen the second one more, if
and I've
maybe
actually,
that's their only
because
one.
I saw, was it Genesis, where they went back and saw...
Genesis.
Genesis. Where they went back and, like, saw young Arnie. Was it that one? Or which
that
one
was Salvation.
Salvation, there we go, yeah.
Because they've just got him jiggling about in like Skynet headquarters.
No, the one where
it's CGI.
Okay, I think you might be talking at cross purposes here.
The one where he goes back to a scene from the first one and sees the like 80s punks and things.
Yes, that's Genesis.
Okay,
that's not
Okay,
Salvation.
I haven't seen that one. It's in my watch list because I kind of have to.
So when I saw it, I was like, I'm sure I haven't seen this film, but I recognise this scene. And it took me a second to be like, oh shit, because I've also seen one of the newer Terminator films. I've just not seen the one they were referencing in the newer one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's pretty great, isn't it?
Oh, it's so good. The music is so bad, it's life-changing.
The music is amazingly terrible.
It's so terrible. I love it.
I like the bits where it's like the chase music that sounds. It sounds. Yeah.
It's just noises.
It's like what would happen if you just were continuously throwing cats onto a keyboard.
No, you're throwing sausages at a fucking Casio keyboard, and that's literally the soundtrack. Apart from the sex scene where it's just a really romantic piano version.
When she just magics her clothes off, we were just watching. We actually skipped back for the sex scene, and it wasn't me. This was Ruth saying, "Can we go back?" And I was like, a boob appeared and disappeared, and then she was like, Ruth was like, "Go back," and I was like, what? But like one scene they're kissing in their clothes, and then they're just suddenly in a very similar position, but all of her clothes are gone.
Yeah, didn't you know? Kyle Reese brought something back from the future. That was basically because, you know, you can't send anything through that isn't dead. Hair is fine though because it keeps Michael Bain looking handsome, so it's okay.
Okay.
but he inserted a declothesizer.
Oh yeah, it crossfades the clothes off you.
Yeah, it's either the crossfades or it star wipes.
Okay.
Fortunately, he didn't use the star wipe setting.
No, he doesn't know how to use it.
That does ruin the movie.
That does ruin it, yeah. Just star wipe and they're both naked, but yeah.
The other thing we noticed as well, the not CGI, the effects.
Oh!
Wow.
Yes! I know!
I don't want to dig on them because it's at a time and, like, fair play, but I don't understand. Firstly, there's like a stop motion bit where he's, like, all robotic, and it's like, for some reason, they're only doing it, like, at, like, 10 frames a second. And it's like, why didn't they just stop motion this at, like, the frames, like, the speed of the actual film?
Because all stop motion is done at less frames a second than standard film, because it would go from taking, like, a doable amount of time to taking years to do anything.
Yeah, I know, but...
All animation is at less frames per second than you think it is.
But to be fair, I don't even care.
Yeah, but this is at less than, like, other things get away with it and it's fine.
This was before really good stop motion became sort of like workable.
That was the other thing I want to say. I don't want to have a dig at this because it works and it's fine. I mean, the fake plasticine Arnie head works less well.
Yeah,
honestly, but that's kind of charming.
Thing, it kind of adds a bit to it because it sort of makes him move janky and fine. I'm not going to have a go at that, but it does show how good like things of like the original Blade Runner was probably a similar time. Showing ignorance here, not knowing what.
I believe Blade Runner was made. I think Blade Runner was released quite a bit before.
But Blade Runner looks excellent. It's amazingly looking,
and
and things like even like 2001: A Space Odyssey, dramatically before, and it looks gorgeous. And you're like, I know they're different sorts of graphics and things, but
if I remember correctly, Terminator 1 didn't have the hugest budget.
No,
so
fair enough. But it just made me appreciate those like older films that like we thought looked amazing, and we were like, "Oh, that looks really cool," and it must have been really good at the time. But it sort of puts it into context a bit more, being like, "Fucking hell, they would like they looked really good."
I do also think it makes you appreciate how good the effects in Terminator 2 are.
The effects in Terminator 2 are fucking life-changingly cool.
Yeah. So no, I'm really glad I watched it. We enjoyed it, and it's a bit janky, but it's still enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really love Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. Like, I'd say Terminator 2 is probably one of my, if not my favourite movie of all time. It's in my top 1 or 2. Like, top 3 at least.
If it's not your favourite movie of all time, it's definitely in your top 1.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, like, I get so excited talking about this, so I'm going to try and not get as excited to anger you and blow out the microphone. But, like, I love Terminator 1 because... there's just so many cool little bits that kind of, like, especially the way they link into Terminator 2. Like, the way they wrote Terminator 2 and wove Terminator 1 in there just makes me so fucking happy. Like, Sarah Connor is literally wearing Carl Reese's, like, coat in the second movie when she goes to, fucking Cyberdyne. Whatever it is. Fucking, where is it? The offices, basically.
Yeah.
She's wearing his coat. And that's a really cool thing. They recreate shots... Like, you know, in the bar in fucking Noir when Carl Reese is, like, unloading a shotgun into Arnie. Like, they redo that, like, they reuse it in the second one, the whole come with me if you want to live thing. And,
I think Terminator...
Which they need to stop fucking doing, because it was cool the first 2 times, but seriously, it got so out of hand. It's like the Matrix come hither hand gesture, it's fucking cringe.
Terminator 2 is the exact opposite of the Star Wars prequels. Because Terminator 2 makes Terminator 1 retroactively better.
It does.
As opposed to the Star Wars prequels who make the original trilogy slightly worse by their existence.
Yeah. But no, God. And the guy that got to play John Connor in the second one was, like adult John Connor. Was like the coolest son of a bitch I've ever seen.
You know what I like about the character of John Connor? Of that he's been played in... so there's like 4 movies...
And 800 different actors have played him.
That John Connor's been in, right? Because there's Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genesis, right? I'm getting that right. So...
Wait, is John Connor in... Don't tell me.
Yes, he is.
Oh, of course he fucking is.
And they're in total... I'm pretty sure there's 5 different actors that have played him in those 4 movies, and none of them...
there's the Sarah Connor Chronicles as well.
I don't count
It looks
that.
like Nick Jonas is playing...
Well, that's the TV series. We ignore that.
Yeah,
but point is, there's 5 movies, 4 movies, 5 different actors. None of them look like they could be the same person at any point.
Exactly.
Like, I do not believe the guy that played him in Terminator 3 grows up to be fucking Christian Bale.
Well, like...
Nor Christian Bale will turn into the version that's in Terminator 2, or the version in Terminator Genesis.
No. No,
Like,
just fuck off.
It's ridiculous.
No. Also, I'm just going to say, I think Daenerys is... Emilia fucking... What's her name?
Clark.
Emilia Clarke as Sarah Connor is a fucking terrible choice. Just because... That's just my initial impressions, and who the fuck they got to play Kyle Reese. It's like, fuck off. The big thing about Kyle Reese is that he's a thin man. He's a thin guy against Mr. fucking Universe.
He's meant to contrast against Arnie.
He's meant to contrast against Arnie. He's meant to be the weak human element against the unstoppable machine of death. It's a fucking visual thing. And then he and Sarah fucking, spoiler alert, they beat the Terminator and don't die, in case, I need to put that out there. He is this massive, impossible mountain they have overcome.
With their tiny grenades.
With their tiny bodies. And then the second one, when fucking T-1000 shows up and he's a thin man and it's supposed to trick you into thinking he's a human and he's a good guy. And it turns out he's the big scary dude and big old Arnie's just a big lumbering fucking, like, relic. And then they're like, oh, Kyle Reese is, like, bigger than Arnie was at the fucking... Fuck you.
The important thing to remember is that...
I'm just nerd raging. Super.
I know. The important thing to remember is that after Terminator 2, anyone who had any input on that series basically didn't understand why Terminator 2 was so successful.
No. Well, I mean, that's
They had no
just fucking,
understanding.
like, focus groups in general.
There's just some fundamental misunderstanding about why people like Terminator in every sequel after the second one.
They've announced a new sequel, and that's...
Yes!
And that's going to be a direct sequel to 2 and ignoring everything else or something?
Yeah. So I'm kind of like...
Can we be hopeful for that, or...?
I am cautiously optimistic about that, because it's starring Linda Hamilton, the lady who played Sarah Connor, and Arnie. So I'm like...
Okay.
Oh god, none of this, oh yeah, my mom, she died of, like, leukemia. It's like, no, I think you'll find Linda Hamilton just went, fuck this, I'm out, this is stupid.
Before that, I've actually seen what was presumably the last time she played Sarah Connor on screen, which is in Terminator 2 3D. Not to be confused with Terminator 2 3D, the thing that was put out last year. No, Terminator 2 3D, the ride that was at Universal Studios. Mm-hmm. Well, I say ride, it was like,
it's like a 4D ride.
Yeah, the 4D sort of experience.
Where they get things spitting at you and whatnot.
Yeah.
You just go into a room and people spit at you for an hour and leave.
yeah, it's kind of weird that people pay for that. But...
No, this was a theme park in Florida, not a theme park in, like, fucking the Amber Valley like American Adventure was.
Oh, God.
That's a theme park where they would have spat on
I remember I went to see, they had 2 4D rides. That's what they call them, I'm not being an idiot. At American Adventure.
Really? I didn't even know that.
No, they had the one where they had the chair. They had, like, the chair rig where they kind of... It's like you're, like... I can't remember what it was. You're, like, on a thingy, what is it?
Words.
A tour of, like, a mental institution because, of course, people are idiots and subtlety is just fucking gone and people with mental difficulties are just the devil. And it's like this guy takes over the ride and he starts, like, putting you down on roller coasters and shit. And it was like, okay, moving chairs. The story was cringy as fuck, but it was an experience. And then they had one, like, a building over that was literally just a projector with a bunch of dining chairs in front of it.
Yeah, that sounds like the American Adventure.
And I went in there with a friend of mine. I was like, the fuck is that? And it's like, oh yeah, that's the old the old 4D ride, but they don't have enough. They can't afford another room with the chairs in it, so they bought a bunch of dining chairs from the local fucking the charity shop and just sat it in front of it. So we sat there, and it was like this old gold digger guy was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go down the mine. You're gonna get on this fucking, like, coal cart, and you're just sitting down on this fucking really uncomfortable dining chair. And it's like the guy's like swinging around, going like, "Whoa, careful of that bend!" And you're like, "I'm stationary. This is..." And the lights were on. There was like a big window behind you, and so it was like on the screen. And you could barely see it. It was like, what the fuck?
In case you can't tell, for people at home, the American Adventure was not a very good British theme park.
It was fucking terrible.
It was also weird that it was called the American Adventure and buried deep in the arse end of the Midlands.
Yeah. And they also charge you an exorbitant amount to get in.
I don't even remember. I never went there as a kid. So.
They charge you like 20 quid per person or something like that, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the Terminator 2 3D 4D experience ride, whatever you want to fucking call it. So you went in and it showed, and you basically had like a big 3D film of Arnie with John Connor fighting in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, and then take down Skynet.
Despite the fact that the chip's gone and he's...
Don't think about it. But the really interesting part is the whole lead up to it is, I'm sure I've talked about this, maybe I've talked about it on stream or something, but you walk through what feels like you're queuing up to go to a press presentation of the replacement for Cyberdyne. They're talking about like the military systems they're engaging that are using this revolutionary new tech, like all sort of keeping the artifice that you're not going into a ride, you're going to a business presentation.
That sounds amazing.
And then when you get into like the lobby, like the holding area before you go in, like a TV screen comes on, like about to give you a presentation, and it gets hacked into by John and Sarah Connor, and it is Linda Hamilton and
Ed Furlong.
Ed Furlong. It is them playing the characters. I think during the time when Ed Furlong was made of drugs.
God. Yeah, the fucking miserable story of Ed Furlong.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But they're sitting there like going, you gotta get out. Like, seriously, we've hacked into this. If you don't leave, you are going to die. You need to fucking get out now.
And then I guess feed cut. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Let's proceed with the tour.
It was really cool. It was really cool.
Oh god. I remember the last time Ren was on, we were talking about it, and I was talking about the cut scene from Terminator 3.
Which one?
The one where it's Arnie and they've given him like, oh, howdy, y'all!
Yeah.
I'll just drum about. I will link you up after.
Yes.
I'm not going to go through that again. But yeah, no, Terminator 1, isn't it amazing?
Very glad we saw it.
The actual Terminator effect, I remember one that used to give me
Finish
chills.
your words, finish your sentences.
No. The Terminator 1 effects, the one that used to give me chills is when they're in the factory at the end, and Kyle's trying to distract it, and Sarah bolts off to the side, and its head snaps to look at her, and its eyes kind of like go first. I thought that was so fucking well done. It's so creepy. It was awesome. Because, yeah, like, actually seeing it kind of, like, wandering around and the actual model is just so fucking cool. Oh, God. And the aperture of the eyes kind of getting bigger and smaller.
Oh, yeah, I always like seeing that. That's quite a fun fact.
Oh, God, it's so fucking cool. And also, I'd like to, like, my favourite character in that is Sarah Connor's hair.
Her hair is...
Yeah, I believe it did have its own dressing room.
It did. It had to. It was that large.
Oh, I just seen some of the costumes, like when they're getting at the start, when they're getting dressed up for a date.
Shoulder pads.
Why are you wearing? And then the date's cancelled or whatever, and she gets changed and goes out to the cinema or wherever she's going. He's just like, you look so much cooler now than you did. Just don't do the whole dressing up for a date thing. Just wear what you're gonna wear, girl.
The 80s was a terrifying time.
Mm-hmm. God, yeah. That and... God, my mum had that haircut. And, like, every one of her friends had that haircut.
Well, a lot of people now who are, like, were that age and had that haircut then still have the haircut.
I mean, if that makes them happy, great. But it's just so strange to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure my haircut and how I look is really weird to people, too. But whatever, that's fine. Just don't tell me, because, that will hurt my feelings.
And there's some good mullets in it as well.
There are some fantastic moments.
And the club, the noir, whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah, shit. Is it like Electro Noir?
Oh, I can't remember.
It's something like that, I can't remember. Techno Noir.
Techno Noir. Oh, yeah, no, because it's Tech Noir.
Tech Noir, thank you. Yeah. We workshopped it. We eventually
got there eventually.
It's like the mullet on the T800 that in Kyle's flashback that breaks in. Like he lines up and like the dogs are checking.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, you see kind of, like, the silhouette of the guy with the red eyes, and he's just got this big fucking funky mullet flowing in the wind, and you're like, even if you weren't a Terminator, I probably would be suspicious of you with a mullet that mighty.
Christ.
But no, anyway, it's really good.
Anyway, any other movies you watched, or?
No, I finished, moving on to books very quickly, I finished reading Pyramids, Discworld book. Which you lent me. Oh, that's a good one.
It is a good one. It's interesting because I don't think there's much in that ever occurs in any other book, so it's one of the more self-contained ones.
No, I think it's its own thing. But, yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Lots and lots of references and in-jokes and things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, even more so than... Because I'm going through and reading them in order. As you know, because I'm taking them all off you.
That is true. You are taking my books, my children, to another country.
Yeah, but I'll bring them back next week. So in return for borrowing more, please.
Yeah, that's fine. This is just a long-standing.
Ransom.
It's just a long-standing hostage situation.
It's a
all saying.
custody
But,
battle.
I mean, it means that you know I'm going to come back at some point, so
That's true. That's true.
for what that's worth.
Is this what it's going to take, on that?
You're far too British to be impolite and keep a book.
Exactly. But no, that's all I've got.
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah, no D&D because players are sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
hopefully we might get an in-person session while I'm back. Maybe.
Yeah. That
We'll see
sounds
if we
cool.
can get
Yeah.
time.
But so I guess that means we shall move on to questions.
Questiones.
And for a change, why doesn't Snipe tell you the email address to send our questions to?
No,
Is that because you can't remember it?
I couldn't remember it. If you have any emails, like if you want to send us a question, like I don't know, maybe you want to tell us why Terminator 1 and 2 are amazing. I mean,
That's
like
not a question. That's a statement.
Okay, it's like, so I like this in Terminator 1. Don't you guys think that's cool? That is a question.
Technically,
I guess
yes.
technically, it's kind of a leading kind of.
Okay,
question.
do you want to say the email address and stop pausing?
Only drummer Matt at Snipe and Wib at gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
you got it right.
Yeah.
You got it right.
Yep. Sorry, my brain's just full of all of that Warhammer Fantasy knowledge.
I know, and it's hard to remember an email address that we've had for months.
Yeah, so if you want to send me like some questions about Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Fantasy, because I will be able to answer everything with 100% accuracy. Unerring, inhuman accuracy.
I really look forward to the next podcast then.
Yeah, just send me questions you might have. Maybe things you don't get, maybe rule kind of things. I mean, I know everything about the rules as well.
Oh, yeah.
Every single thing. I wrote half of them. So yeah, I know them. So yeah, you got any questions about that? Hit us up. Only drummer Matt at snipeandwib at gmail.com.
There you go.
There we go.
So what are the questions, Matthew?
Okie dokie. As usual, in no particular order, so the subjects are going to jump around quite a lot.
That's fine.
Oh, they do anyway.
A lovely anonymous person asked if it's worth it to paint Tau.
No.
Which I'd say yes. But
I would say if you want to paint Tau, go and paint Tau the best you can.
If-
I think the models are cool. I think they're worth painting just on their own right.
Yeah, they're
the models
interesting.
are cool. If you want variety in what you want to paint, probably don't collect Tau. Because you got your dudes, and then you've got your bigger dudes, and then the tanks. And that's basically it. And
You could say that about a lot of armies.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like there's not much going on in terms of variety. I mean,
Yeah.
then you've got your Kroot, but I mean, fuck them.
Crew are cute.
Or you could paint Vespids. I'm sure someone's used a Vespid in a game once.
Maybe.
Probably.
But like I was a Tau player. I haven't played for years, so I don't think I can say am anymore. But I painted up most of my models, and I did enjoy it a bit. But I went with the standard Tau colour, the Tau Sept Ochre or whatever it's called, Sandy Tau, which I would change now if I was doing it, but I'm not starting from scratch with them.
I have a few Tau that I'm painting up red, just because I
okay.
think it's
Yeah, we
cool.
got them in the old Kill Team box.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
want to see red Tau,
I
because
had-
you always see it's like yellow.
I
kind
did, to be
of,
fair, actually, I did there
armour.
was the Stealth Boys that I did, and I did them, they were mostly black with like purple accents, and I was like, I actually quite like that, and they're really easy to paint like that, because you don't do much.
They're super gothic, aren't they?
And then their follow-up question was, what units would you think are most fun to paint? Which I assume we can expand out to beyond Tau.
The most fun I've had is painting my Venerable Space Wolf Dreadnought, because I love painting fur.
Okay.
I really
Yeah.
enjoy painting like furs, so I guess wolves are a good choice for me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I had painted up I used to have an old Fantasy Empire army, and you got the Wolf Knights in them. and
Yes, I know of them.
They've got furs. You do.
I
You
actually
do.
invented them.
What were they called again? Just because I can't remember.
They were called the Wolfborg Knights.
The Wolf.
Of course, it was in
Knights.
High Elvish, so
Okay.
you couldn't. But that was literally what it
Yeah,
translated.
the Empire had units that were named in High Elvish. Seems legit.
yeah.
Seems legit.
Yeah, no, I told you, dude. I literally invented those units, sculpted them myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, their cloaks were very cool, so thank you.
you're welcome. I'm glad you appreciate it. Not many people like the cloaks.
But the point is, the cloaks were fur and they were fun to paint. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always enjoyed painting my orcs because it was quite fun to paint checks and things.
Fuck you. I hate, like, painting, like, really definite corners is so difficult.
Yeah, but I'm the sort of strange person
Masochist.
that does like painting free-handed chapter symbols on Space Marines and things.
I reiterate, masochist.
And like doing all the numbering for like company numbers and things and stuff like that. I enjoy doing that kind of thing because I'm strange like that. But yeah, I guess like overall, like, just orcs in general, because you can have a lot of fun with them. You can kind of be as complex or
You
as
can do a lot of crazy
simple
stuff
as you
with them,
want,
I
really.
guess. Yeah.
I've actually got some orcs, some second edition orcs to paint at the moment, because that's a normal thing that humans do in 2018.
Their next question was, do you think it is mandatory for every video game to have Jet Jaguar DLC?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, without a fucking doubt. I'm angry that Vermintide 2 doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the only new character I'd allow. What about you, Drummer Butt?
Me, I have very little impact on Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar.
Sorry, what?
Jet Jaguar?
Can I rephrase that sentence?
No.
No, Jet Jaguar.
That's the name
yeah.
of the fucking podcast now.
I'm not 100% sure what Jet Jaguar is.
Jet Jaguar is a knockoff Ultraman that's in Godzilla vs. Megalon.
Okay.
And he also has a cool theme too.
Okay. Which I'm guessing is the thing you're singing and that's not just
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Jet Jaguar.
Also, the movie.
I thought you'd agree with that question.
Yeah. Also, the movie is fucking terrible. I wouldn't ever put someone through that. It's okay. In terms of a Godzilla film, of the era, it's average, but it's not one of those Godzilla films that I'm like, you should totally watch this. It just is a thing that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Next question from Reese or Acidus.
Okay.
They sent us a dog picture as payment for the question service. So
Cool. Yes, the question service.
It's an excellent dog picture, and they've also given us permission to put it on Twitter. So as of whenever this podcast goes live, I'll tweet the picture so everyone else can see.
Where have you sent it to us?
I sent it to your phones, but it'll come through in a sec with my internet uploading things. While it's sending, I'll read the question.
Yeah, sure.
If you didn't have any restrictions, i.e. time, budget, resources, etc., what video or video series would you want to make?
I'd want to do a full Let's Play of, like, Mass Effect.
Yeah, that'd be a long-ass fucking series.
That would be so much fucking yakka. It would be impossible to do. But, God, that'd be fun. It's like, if I had, like, if we had, like, outsourced, like, an editor, and someone to deal with all that stuff, and edit it, and do all the, like... Then sure. Why not?
Yeah, just managing that much footage.
Just doing that, like, it would be hundreds of gig
it's
of footage.
It's one of those things where it is totally doable. But
And I think everyone would get really bored after the 7th video.
I think most people would get kind of sick of it before we got to the end of it. But yeah, do like the full fucking trilogy. Like,
yeah, that's kind of like that will literally never happen.
And then we can then do a side one where I play through Andromeda again and do my Mass Effect Andromeda apologetics act again. I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I'd like to do more. I'd probably go more down the scripted route of like resources, but I don't know
what kind of scripted videos.
Yeah, I don't know
like,
what to do.
I like to do movie reviews and stuff, but then again, like YouTube copyright bullshit notwithstanding.
Yeah, you sort of, once you start looking at movies, you sort of introduce yourself to a whole new world of content ID nonsense.
But I mean, I guess the question is, without the restrictions. So I guess we can say,
I'd start
without
doing
the
movie
YouTube
reviews.
bullshit.
Yeah,
without the YouTube bullshit. I mean, I've been meaning to start like watching a season of anime and then trying to explain it really badly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was trying to explain I think it was Tokyo Ghoul.
Yeah, it was a few podcasts.
And I explained it really fucking badly. And someone was like, "Oh, I'd really like to see like a series of that." And it's like, good for you. I actually think that's a good idea.
Yeah, just do it like basically you've got like 2 minutes.
I've got 2 minutes to explain the entire season of like the first JoJo. Oh God.
But yeah, I guess going into doing more movie reviews and stuff, because currently we've done a handful of movies, but they've always been, well, I say handful, we've done 2 full-length movies, and they've been like very carefully picked to be something that we knew wouldn't get us in trouble with YouTube.
Yeah.
So Because I know there's obviously people out there who do just do full movie reviews, but they do tend to have to spend a significant portion of their time fiddling with the back end of YouTube, making things work.
Yeah.
And making it so they can actually get their videos live. And I frankly can't be bothered to deal with
that's
that.
a lot of fucking bullshit
fair.
to go through, and it might not even work anyway. So, but yeah, no, good question.
Okay. You should have the dog picture now, by the way.
Yes,
it's
doggy picture.
Dougal, and he's 5, and he's a jackapoo.
Jackapoo.
Apparently.
Now that is
He's
a
amazing.
sweet boy.
It's
That is a
it's
good dog
an
in the
excellent
snow.
photo as well. Like
That is a really good photo of
Yeah,
good old Dougal.
we have permission, so as of Monday or once this podcast goes live, I'll tweet out the picture so people can look if they want.
Absolutely.
My Twitter is at Drumblebee, I think.
Drumblebee,
yes.
Yeah.
Follow for pictures of dogs.
Yes. Not my dogs, but I happily claim credit for them. No, I will credit the people who owns the dog as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Parry. Firstly, their question is: have any of us had cheese curds? And if so, were they fried, unfried, or both?
No.
No, I have not.
I think I have. I was in. We did a couple of day trip to Montreal, from when we were staying with some of Ruth's family.
They
in
like cheese
Toronto.
curds up there, don't they?
Yeah, so they had poutine, which is basically cheesy chips and gravy, which is we have that in the UK too, but it's subtly different in Canada in that you have to order it in French.
Bonjour, je m'appelle poutine.
Or in Canadian French, which is very different to French. All the swear words are like based around religion. It's really weird.
Huh. That's
But
interesting.
anyway, yeah, it's instead of actual just like grated cheese, they have cheese curds on it, and so it's definitely tastes different to normal cheese. But I honestly haven't had it separately, so I couldn't tell you how it's different, or even what is a cheese curd. I couldn't even answer that.
Cheese curd is like,
It's like milkier cheese.
it's just like squishy cheese, isn't it?
I don't really know, but I think I have had it, but not by itself, so I couldn't review it
Because I
properly.
don't like you can curdle milk,
But I don't think it's curdled, because curdle's not good.
but curd milk,
Yeah,
curd cheese.
I don't know.
Curded cheese.
Okay, I think we've already
Yeah.
spent too long on this question that fundamentally the answer is no.
Their second bit isn't a question, but I'll read it because it made me feel good.
Okay.
So, secondly, I would like to say, whenever one of my questions is read on the podcast, I just get a weird form of happy, which I don't know how to explain. I just like how you guys make everyone feel welcomed.
Oh, bless.
Yeah, which is really sweet. And
Well, I'm glad.
I had a few
Yeah.
similar emails where people have been like, it's just they just enjoy it for whatever reason. They let us know how it's enjoying it. It's nice to hear that somehow, in a very small way, we're adding a bit of niceness into the world, because I think that's what the world needs, really.
Yeah, the world's pretty fucking horrible. Let's be honest.
So yeah, it just made me like, oh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you for telling us.
Yes, I'm glad we do
we
a
are glad.
good.
Yeah, I won't. Sometimes when people message in just to say that they're enjoying things, I won't necessarily read it out on this bit. Sometimes I will.
Because
Sometimes
it can get a bit self-relating.
Yeah, it's a little bit like now the section going on about why everyone likes us so much.
Yeah, like, oh, hi Snipe, you have the biggest muscles and you know everything about Age of Sigma.
But those messages are always appreciated.
Yes, yeah.
Next up, we've got Murray. So he's glad to hear you enjoyed playing Space Crusade.
Heck yeah.
It was actually their first exposure to 40k, and actually,
Oh, wow.
rather strangely, their only tabletop experience of Warhammer.
That's fair.
What with limited time and money and things, they
That's
tend to just go to
understandable.
Yeah,
video
no.
games and tie-in books and things.
Yeah.
But they did have one of the Space Crusade expansions,
Oh, wow.
Mission Dreadnought,
Yeah.
and a friend
Yeah, I've seen that one.
had the Eldar expansion apparently.
Yeah, I always thought for years that there was only one expansion for it, but yeah, I had to look up and there's a few of them. So yeah,
That's pretty rad.
it's pretty cool. I would be interested in playing them, but then
Its availability is a big thing.
yeah,
And they were also saying as well they remember it being quite well supported by GW, and there was various rules in White Dwarf and things for extra bits.
oh
Cool.
I know they did advertise it like in White Dwarf because one of the old issues that we reference in one of the Rogue Trader videos. The cover of it is literally just the Space Crusade artwork because they were saying this is the new thing out. Like, go fucking follow this.
To be fair, that artwork is amazing.
It's pretty fun.
So cool.
On a related note, they've asked, as people who may know, which presumably excludes me, and now, seeing as you're like the font of all fantasy knowledge, and therefore have no room for 40k knowledge, excludes you, Snipe.
Oh, no. I know some 40k.
But they're asking, did proper Warhammer Dreadnoughts ever look like the ones in Space Crusade?
No.
Okay, cool.
They used to in Rogue Trader. They looked very different. I'm trying to think. There's sort of like a weird early version of the Contemptor, but more shit. And
it
then
was a while ago.
the Space Crusade ones are just their own weird thing.
With long heads. With what the fuck did you say to me?
Yeah, and then after that, I can't remember what we think of as the boxy dreadnoughts came in, but
Boxy boys.
But yeah, I think there was like a time when a lot of people were using the Space Crusade dreadnoughts as actual dreadnoughts, and I know some people still do buy them today to use on the tabletop as like Heresy era dreads or whatever. But yeah, no, official full 40k line has never looked like that, to my knowledge. Anyway, maybe someone knows, but I have never ever seen.
In Age of Sigmar, they did.
I'm sure they did.
In Warhammer Fantasy, the
I was
dreadnoughts
going to say,
that
in
look
Age
like
of Sigmar in 1993,
Yeah.
they did, yes.
Yeah.
In
But
Age of Sigmar.
I was thinking of, I'd come up with the whole Age of Sigmar thing at that point anyway.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I was 6.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was working for Games Workshop. Mr. James Workshop, he lets me call him James. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the next question then, Matthew?
Same person, but
Yeah.
completely unrelated subject. If it hasn't already been answered, what is your favourite sort of pie?
Oh, I like peach pie.
They're saying sweet and savoury, if you'd like.
Sweet. But I
so-
do like steak pies. Oh.
See, to me, it depends where this person's from. To me, a pie is something, it's got to be completely surrounded by pastry. Like, you have a pastry bottom
Yeah.
and sides,
Yeah.
you fill it in, and then you've got a pastry on top. Or a stretch, sometimes if you're like at a pub or something, they'll have a pie in like a ceramic dish, and it'll have like puff flaky pastry on top, but not like the sides, but it has to
I never
definitely be
got that.
covered in pastry. Whereas I think a lot of American pies are like more like what we'd call like a tart or something. It's like pastry
Yeah.
bottom and sides, and then filling, but then no pastry on top.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which
yeah.
to me isn't a pie.
We're talking about the pastry all round.
Yeah, pastry all
I
round.
love sweet pies, but
Okay.
I also love steak pies.
Yeah, I'm very simple. I think like kind of steak pies are like my
fucking
favourite.
love steak
And I'm not
pies.
really a fan of a lot of sweet pies.
I
but
also
yeah.
don't like ale in pies.
Oh,
Like steak and ale.
Steak and
Don't like
ale.
steak and
Steak and
ale.
ale is great.
I'm okay with
I
steak
don't
and
like
ale.
it. You guys can have my steak and ale.
Okay, that's
Or
fair.
steak and kidney. Why are you going to put that yucky bit in there? Why are you going to ruin it? I like apple pie. My nanny used to make amazing
Apple pies are good, but apple pies are slightly inferior to apple crumble. So
I remember
Personally.
like every time I when I was a kid, every time someone would present me with apple crumble, I'd eat the crumble and leave everything else.
I mean that's fair.
I just like the burnt pastry and sugar.
So what's your favourite then, Matt?
I don't know. I'd sway if I had to say a specific pie. I'd sway toward pork pie, as in like it's so for those outside of the UK.
They're nightmares.
They're cold. They serve cold, and they're usually smallish. Like if you put your sort of make a circle with your index fingers and thumbs,
Then
that sort
okay.
of size or smaller, and they're like basically just reconstituted pork surrounded by weird jelly.
It's
in
like
like
clear,
really dense
like
buttery
salty
pastry.
water jelly.
Yeah.
It's
They sound
disgusting.
so gross, but they're so
It
good.
is gross.
They are really nice.
They're
They're
fucking
nothing
awful.
like a warm steak pie or whatever. Like they're a completely separate entity.
It tastes like congealed pork reject meat.
Have you had one from Birds?
No, and
I
I've
have-
tried like multiple
I
ones, and
will-
I'm not going to Birds to spend about 50 quid on a
will
fucking
Okay,
pork
I'm
pie.
just
Bring you a Birds pork pie. No, hashtag not advertised or not sponsored or whatever. But Birds.
Okay, I'm
Hashtag
just-
could be.
Okay, I'm just going to say the podcast is already running a lot longer than we need to. Can we move on from the pork pie discourse?
Okay. I actually had more pie things to say, but fine.
Wow. Poor drummer Matt wanted to talk
No,
about
it's
pie.
fine. Okay, Isaac. First off, they wanted to say that they're loving Codex compliant.
Oh, good.
thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Also, all the D&D talk on the podcast. So apologies for this week.
Yeah, sorry.
They were curious as to how we feel, this is presumably related to D&D, about races such as like gnolls and orcs, and the races that are sort of portrayed as, horrific raiding parties that constantly plunder, but actually, in real world, they can't just be constantly at war and constantly plundering, and they were just wondering what are our thoughts on things like that.
I think it's an interesting topic of what these these races that that have the categorization of alignment evil, like how they actually function as like a society. I think that's interesting, but I also understand from a purely mechanical sense why they have to be the way they are.
Yeah, like from a gameplay sense, I get it, but like I don't know. I think kobolds are quite fun because them being like kind of like weird dragony kind of things, and basically having cobalt, the mineral named after them, and that kind of stuff.
Is that where the name comes from? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, a lot of, not from the D&D, obviously.
Well, yeah.
No,
yeah, a lot of the D&D monsters came from like old folk tales and things.
Yeah, yeah.
And the name for cobalt material came from an old folk tale for things that lived in mines or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah. So
I did not know
there is a link.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of like cool kind of stuff like that.
I know the way I'd see this is like as players, you only ever see the gnolls and orcs being... Because as soon as they encounter the party, they want to attack the party because that's what they do. But when the party's not there, they do have their own shit going on. And they do have, as they say, like someone cooking dinner and someone sharpening the weapons and someone doing, all this sort of stuff.
Someone playing Scrabble.
But that's not, people don't play D&D... a lot of groups that play D&D don't do anything in their own downtime. And then even those that do, like our group, has a bit more... hanging out in the pub and chatting in downtime stuff. But even our group isn't going to be particularly interested in, let's pause what you're doing. I, as the DM, am going to go on a monologue about what the orcs are doing in their downtime. It kind of, the game's set up to highlight the heroic bits of it in general.
Yeah.
So it's not showing you the kobolds that the kobolds that are just sitting at home knitting.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of that really, and as well like. You have to include it somehow. Like a good DM will make it feel like the world is going on, even if the players aren't there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to go too much into the sort of nitty gritty of exactly what how goblin society works or whatever.
Although, how you say like you don't want to like suddenly just cut away and speak about like what the orcs are doing in their downtime, but how much would it freak a party out if the DM just suddenly, like they're in the middle of something else, goes several miles away, a bunch of orcs sit down for dinner, and they all...
You are literally spoiling all of my DM tips, like all of my DM
like
techniques.
even if it doesn't amount to anything, like the party will sit there and go, "What the fuck was that about?
Why did they bring that up?
What is that? Like he wouldn't have mentioned it if it wasn't important. Was there a message we missed?"
So then you'll get parties just like walking miles and miles to these fucking orcs' home, kicking in the door and then just shaking them down and being like, "What do you want? Do you have loot? Ah! What did you have for dinner?" There's a lot of power DMs wield in that regard.
So Orion asked, they noticed a inconsistency in the inverted commas Snipe character of your successful podcast. Okay. In episode 47, Snipe encounters a small spider which she christens Greg. However, previous media has indicated that Snipe's character is arachnophobic. Did it? From the Limbo video, particularly.
Yes.
I mean, what are we to believe? Like, is this a magic phobia-beating Snipe or something? Ha ha ha, I really hope someone got fired for that blunder.
Okay, you sucky fuck. Right, let me sit you down and tell you about this fucking character. So you'll notice that the Limbo video is about 100 years old. It is from a good while ago.
It is about 4 or 5 years old.
And you see, Snipe currently, in the current canon, is not afraid of spiders. Well, she still is kind of a bit worried by larger spiders, but a lot of smaller to mid-range spiders she can deal with. That's because character development happened. She got bored of being afraid of spiders, so she started really fucking pulling her dax up and getting down to business to not be afraid of spiders. And it's kind of worked. So, yeah. The character arc is quite good there. So if I refer you to modern day, like the latest edition, which will be this one, she's not that afraid of spiders anymore because years have passed and exposure therapy works. You fucking sulky dick.
They also said seriously, no, thanks for doing podcasts and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, that's
You're welcome. Little fucking shit. Oh my goodness.
Very much tongue in teeth. It was excellent.
Tongue in teeth.
Tongue in teeth.
Ow.
Yeah,
that sounds painful.
That's what I'm going with, and I'm sticking with it. Damn it.
Okay. We don't have the time. Move on. Next question. We can't dwell on everyone's minor errors, like how you said character arc earlier.
That's fine.
Character arc. There we go.
Their actual question was: have we had a chance to check out Necromunda?
No.
I really would love to, but I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
We
think
will
it's the same for
do.
you. Does the board game cafe have a set?
I
They
think
seem
it
to,
might
they seem to have
do.
everything else. So
I think, yeah. they
I'm
might
not.
do.
I'm not sure. I'll check the next time we go in.
okay.
If not, we'll ask very
give it a
nicely if they know anyone.
Okay, next up, Aridius Pidnean. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Hello.
I think it's almost guaranteed you did.
Yes, apologies. What do you guys think of Ghostbusters 2?
I can't actually remember much about it. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Was that the one where there was a lot of splishy, splashy anger goo underneath New York City that made everyone a twat rather than just people living in a big city have really low empathy?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, no, I can't remember much about it, honestly.
I was so disappointed about the first one. And I knew the second one was received worse than the first. So I was like,
I have heard it's not good.
I watched it again a few years ago. All I remember is that it's not as good as the first one. It's not like it's unwatchable or anything, but it's fine.
My favourite part about it was the news anchor gremlin.
I believe that might be Gremlins 2 you're thinking about.
What? No. It's a little monster, like in Ghostbusters 2. It's a ghost
Okay,
gremlin.
next question, please.
Next question. Some guy camping sent another dog picture.
Good.
I'm sending
Yes.
forward to you now.
Is that person's name, or are you just being a fucking dismissive dick?
No. That's their name.
Well, some guy camping, I guess. Fucking whatever.
No, I'll send it through to you, and we have Twitter permission, so I'll put it on the Twitter.
Good.
Excellent.
His name is Runt, because he was the runt of the litter, but now he's actually bigger than his brothers and sisters.
Now
Good little boy.
But I'll
What a
put it
darling.
on the Twitter. Lastly, we have Shanus. Couple of questions. So, it's been a year now. Snipe, have you finished The Witcher 3?
The Witcher 3?
Yes.
What's that? I played The Witcher 2. It's pretty good. I like it, it's alright.
Short answer is no.
No. I'll get around to it.
I'm sure. Next
One of
up,
these days.
moving on quickly. This will you're about to make a squee noise, Snipe. So,
Okay.
have any of you cosplayed, and if so, as who? Snipe would make a great Witcher, and I think we all want to see Wib as Inquisitor Greg.
Yes, no, that would be amazing. I did like a really diet cosplay of Ciri. I basically did my hair like her, did my makeup like her, and drew a big old scar and wore a medallion for our Halloween stream.
Yeah.
I really, really want to get into
When you say
cosplay.
Siri, you don't mean the iPhone thing, right?
No, I mean the Witcher Ciri, Cyrilla Rhiannon fucking, like something, blah blah blah. Yeah. Geralt's like daughter.
Okay.
You heck.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, no, you need to definitely. Well, the thing is, like, when we get 100,000, the thing is, when we get 100,000 subscribers, Whip has promised to do a sexy dance as Misty.
This is true.
That is
So that
true.
It is
I hope
known.
that's not going to be his first cosplay. But yeah, I think he'd make a really good Inquisitor Greg.
You see, I would be down. I would be down for that, but it's
It's a lot of money and a lot
resources
of
and time
resources,
and
time.
ability.
Yeah, really. One day though.
Maybe one day, I can be the Greg I always knew I should be.
I joked on stream. It's like, yeah, I'll go as Vibben, his punky assistant lady.
Who dies instantly.
Dies. I'll just go around and, like, if anyone ever wants a photo, I'll just lie at your feet and you can just look mildly upset.
Yeah.
So
I'll
that
just be
sounds
like,
good.
Oh no.
Oh no, she's dead.
She's dying for character development. I should really just read that fucking book.
In that voice.
Yes.
It was then I realised they were a heretic. Didn't like that much, did I? Did not. They weren't very good. Chaos is pretty bad, isn't it? Oh, not a fan of them.
Is that the end of the questions?
No, there's one last one which will.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So this is a good one to end on. So for Snipe and Wib only, apologies to me.
Okay.
What is the worst thing you have seen Drummer Matt do? I assume it involves nakedness, a public space, and at least one crate of brown sauce. So I'm going to hang up and leave. Answer that however you like.
No. It's fine, man. It's fine, man. Look. We can.
I'm not sure if you're laughing at the question or if you're laughing at your about to be answer of it.
Little column
Do you have a story you want to tell?
A.
And let's keep it tight. Let's keep it short.
Okay, funny you should say let's keep it tight. You know how Toys R Us has just been shut down? Matt, you'll remember this because, well, you were involved in the story. We were out and about town. I think it was like he'd come back and he had like an afternoon to kill, and I was in town because I needed to get some jeans. And Matt had phoned me up. He's like, "Oh yeah, are you in town? Because I've got like a few hours to kill before I go meet my family and go to the pub." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, we'll have a wander around." So we wandered around town for a bit. We got to a Toys R Us, and I'm like, you know what? Let's have a meander in. And Drummer Matt's like, okay, that's fine. I hate toys, and I hate the US, which honestly I didn't want to.
To be fair, the fact
you don't want to give him any more thread, you know.
To be fair, he wasn't like going off on a weird rant against Armenians, so you know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of grateful.
We're pretty grateful for that. So we go in, and I'm looking at the toys, and I'm looking like I always freak out at the baby borns because they're a bit fucking creepy. And like we're kind of like working away because it goes from like little baby kind of like few months old like the little soft like toys you get with like bells in them.
Yeah,
they're really kind of soft, and then it goes all the way up to like bikes and like teenager kind of stuff and like games. So we start off on kind of like the baby aisle, and we're walking through, and I'm like, oh, this is cute, and oh, look at the baby born, like, you know. And after a while, I noticed Drummer Matt's gone quiet.
Always a danger sign.
Always a dangerous sign. And I turn around, and he's not there. I'm like, shit. So I got to the Ninja Turtle aisle before I noticed something was amiss. I start hearing a commotion.
Yeah.
See, Drummer Matt's giggling because he knows what he's done.
He didn't get the Digimon cards again, did he?
No, he didn't get it those ones. Not this time. Next time, but that's a story for next time. So I'm very cautiously, I'm like, okay. I'm walking back, and I look down like the aisle where you've got the little rocking horses. No one there, and I'm like, okay, that's really weird because usually you cannot get through the rocking horse aisle, full of old people. Don't know what it is. They just fucking love rocking horses.
They just congregate there.
They just
really
congregate
weird.
there. I think that's maybe where they meet up to like go and have orgies or whatever. But I don't know. No judgment here. So I'm like, okay, there's one aisle left that I've been through, and I start hearing clacking, like kind of like wood hitting a vinyl floor, and I'm like, that's a bit weird. So I pop round, and I've popped my head round. I'm quite nervous at this point because Drummer Matt occasionally, when he gets bored, he can be slightly disruptive.
He's like a very smart bird. They get very destructive when they are when they're not stimulated. Yeah,
it's funny you should say that because I remember one time I went to Greg's with Drummer Matt. He got so bored he jumped on top of the coffee machine and started plucking his butt hair.
But anyway, Toys R Us.
Toys R Us.
We're on the clock here.
Okay, so I peer around and there's like a group of people, and I'm like, oh no, it's happened again. And they're just kind of all in like hushed silence, and they're all looking up, and I'm like, oh no. So I look up and I see Drummer Matt there, with his trousers round his ankles.
Oh, of course.
And what he'd done is he got Big Billy bricks, the big fucking box of bricks.
Yeah.
Big Billy's bricks.
Yeah.
And he'd inserted all of them into his bum.
Okay.
And he was fucking screaming at the top of his lungs, eat that Billy brick shithouse, and just firing small little coloured bricks out of his bum at the people below.
I guess he was high up at that point, so they couldn't get to him even with like a broom.
No, there was literally there's a short lady who was there. She must have been about 60. You could tell that she was working there because she loved the job, with a broom, and she just couldn't. She was trying to swat him down. He was just like, "Have at you, Anne Hathaway," or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't know why he was calling her Anne Hathaway. I think. I think maybe he thought she was someone else.
Possibly. And so this is you might have seen something in the papers about this.
Yeah, like maybe the entirety of Toys R Us going bankrupt and shutting down.
Inevitably, the lawsuits come from. Yeah, that's why Toys R Us isn't open anymore. You can blame Matt for that.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, they actually had to pull half of the building down to just get him out. Because, Drummer Matt, he doesn't look it, but he can kind of disengage his limbs. Which means that he basically, like, when the police came, he shoved the remainder of the bricks up his ass as, like, what I would think of as, like, cannon fodder for later in case he was startled from behind.
Kind of like a hamster, but
Kind
with
of
an
like a
arse.
hamster, but with his butt. So he gets into the vents, and he's kind of like, he's wrapped around one of the fans.
Well, it's a little known fact that an adult drummer mat can actually squeeze his body down to fit through a hole the size of a 50p piece.
He can, and he did, around, like, all around the blades of this fan.
Yeah.
So he was just... So he was stuck there. I had to fucking wait there until like 10 p.m. that evening because they need to get the jaws of life, and they were like trying to open it. All he kept doing was hissing and occasionally firing a bit, firing, kind of like dribbling out of his butt and like the kind of half-hearted. You could tell he'd exhausted himself.
He didn't have the strength anymore.
He didn't have this, but he was still hissing. He missed his fucking pub lunch as well.
Yeah. It's the exact reason I can't go to Marks and Spencer's with him as well. Anyway, next time, live MisanthroPod on the 7th of April, hopefully at 7 p.m. We hope you all enjoy it. Goodbye, everybody.